Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone, where we look at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Hello and welcome back. I'm your hostess, Kristen Blakely, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Amber Jones and Cindy Murray.
Hello.
Hey.
Or as Amber says, cohorts.
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 Just kidding.
Comrades.
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 So, what does that make me think of, like, the Russians' comrade?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what that is.
Comrade.
Russian espionage. Anyway, so today we are talking about my not to do list. So,
Okay.
in the heart of the go and do and check it off striving mode. I'm in an anti-striving mode lifestyle right now, by the way.
Right,
Like my reflections on the past few years of goal setting and tending has been in a passion to strive, and I'm kind of done striving. Like, I'm tired of it, honestly. Like, it's exhausting. And I think we had talked about this in the past about having words that were
hard.
abusive words, like,
We beat ourselves up.
you beat ourselves up. Like, improve. Like, that's a harsh word. Improve. Everything must be better than it used to be.
Right.
That's a really tough word to live up to.
Well, and you had that word rise one year.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was the last time I had a
that's very,
striving word.
Improvy type
Yeah,
word,
that
right?
was the whole point of that word, was to rise to the occasion or rise up. And
Mhm.
yep.
Rise up.
So, this year I was thinking about to-do lists, and when I said that, it made my back hurt.
Wow.
When I
Makes my brain hurt.
I know. And then I was like, what about not to-do lists? Like, things that you're not going to do. And
Oh,
I think
that's
that
good.
probably came from one of Allie Edwards' things, letting go of.
Oh, yeah. Let go
This year
of.
I'm going to
Yeah.
let go of. And I kind of thought about this thing, like having a not to-do list. Like, the things I refuse to carry.
Mhm.
What a gardener leaves alone. The art of not doing, right? There's a book about the art of not giving a blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
I want to say that that's like on the slate of one that I want to do, like, eventually. But
Yeah, a TBR. Weeding by saying no. We're talking about cultivating things that matter. What about cultivating and weeding the things that don't?
Right.
We're so focused on,
I do love your gardening metaphor that
You
you've been
love
using
it?
lately. That it goes with that cultivate what matters thing
yeah,
too.
yeah.
But it really is apropos to
It's
to
not
goal
just
setting
about going and, like, watering the plant, but also all the other things that go
that
with
you do.
it.
You
Yeah.
have to tend
So
the garden.
Apologies in advance for all of the fertilizing and composting metaphors, but
okay.
they're just gonna keep coming. So
Okay.
things hanging. Okay, so this is like this reminded
I
me
can
of.
take all of those metaphors and turn them dirty. But
But
I'm not going to.
Okay,
this is a
so-
clean or mostly clean.
So, okay. Okay, back
She
to
got
my thing. Okay,
distracted.
so I remember when I was a kid, my grandma used to have this, like, little tiny pencil, like the kind that come in board games, and she had, like,
Oh,
this
yeah.
thing on the wall next to the pantry, and it was
Mhm.
like a roll of paper,
Oh yeah.
like adding machine paper,
Yeah,
right? And then
yeah.
it was like her grocery list or whatever.
Right.
And I don't know why, but that image is like, when I think of a to-do list, I see that little brown wooden thing on the wall. Is
Right.
that so weird? Like, I
think it
never
was-
added to that
yeah.
list, but it's just so,
I think
like,
it was her grocery list.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, it's
Or something.
embedded
Or maybe it was just for
in-
looks. Who knows?
it's embedded in this idea of a grandma in a kitchen who has her
Right.
life together. Because my grandmother, like, just had this, like, seemingly organized. She was never, like, stressing her, in my point of view. Like, I
Right.
never saw her run around with her head cut off in the kitchen. She just did her thing like she'd done it 1,000 times before.
Right.
Right? So when I see that little to-do list, in her kitchen, which is just a grocery list, it is to me like this safe space for to-do lists.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so going back to that, when I was thinking about the not to-do list, this little image popped in my head of that little thing, and I thought, oh man, that's kind of like the not to-do list hanging in the kitchen, right?
Okay.
Okay, so it's the kitchen wall manifesto, things not to do, or the
Okay.
gardener's, manifesto.
Right.
Interesting.
Anyways, you took a little side derailment. But it's also instructions for future me, right?
Okay,
Things not
yeah.
to do, right? We always talk about the things we do. Do this, try this. Hey,
How to make yourself
re-
do
motivate
things you don't
yourself
want
to do the thing you don't want to do.
We did that last week.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is the answer to that. Okay?
Okay.
The other answer, the flip side of that coin is,
Right.
Here's a question for you guys, right? What have you stopped doing lately that improved your life?
Ooh. Oh. Man, I want to say that, like, I've really tried to stop letting, and I'm not going to say that this is like 100%.
Right. It
'cause
doesn't
it's a-
have to be something
it's
you
a-
never do ever again.
I know,
but
like
it's
I've
something
been
you're
really
actively
trying to
doing.
stop letting other people's expectations getting me down.
Yeah.
Especially, like,
feeling
when it
how you
comes
think they
to-
feel.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like family and even coworkers and friends and everything like that. Like, I've been really trying to like live my own path, sway to my own tune,
Okay.
grow my own garden. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yes.
I
Right.
had to throw in like a plant metaphor.
There you go. Okay. What about you?
Oh, let's see. I think one of the things, and I'm not perfect at it because, even perfectionists are not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I've been trying to stop doing is correcting people when they're wrong or when I think they're wrong.
For personal reasons, I like that. No.
Well, honestly, like, your truth is not
necessarily somebody else's truth.
their
Well,
truth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and and I realize that okay, so coming from like a Girl Scout leader, as a teacher, as a crone who has lived life and has a lot of experience
As a mentor.
as a mentor, as a parent, all of these ways, it has always been part of that persona or that role in my life, that role that I play, to be the one who offers guidance and correction when someone is going off the path, right? And so it's really hard when you grow up responsible for people, especially like your siblings or whatever. You see them, doing something or getting mixed up in something that you don't think they should, or saying something that they're misinformed about or whatever. And it is just second nature to me to say, no, wait a minute. No, that's not what really happened, or that's not what that really says, or actually the fact of this case is blah, blah, blah. And I don't ever do it to belittle anybody or anything. It's like I'm trying to share the information that I have. It's it's a sharing thing. But I know that it does rub some people the wrong way because they think you're attacking them for what they said. And I'm like, sometimes both things can be true. You can have your point of view and I can have my point of view, and we both might be wrong or we both might be right.
Mm-hmm.
But I've started telling myself that it's not my job. I don't have to correct people. If they want to believe something that's not true, then let them.
According to your belief.
According to my belief, or even
Yeah,
true,
right.
or even facts. You
Right.
know, if my brother came and said that the earth is flat
Mm-hmm.
and science has proven that it's not, you know, I would be tempted to argue with him about that and go, well, what about this? You know, these
Mhm.
things.
Well, there are
Whatever.
really people
But there's
out there that
people who do
believe
that.
that the
But
earth
there's
is
a
flat.
stopping point there, and
There
that's it's not your job to make
To
his
make them
mind
believe.
changed. It's
No.
just your job to share your opinion.
Well, and
Yeah,
it's
like-
not even that.
Yeah,
I don't
it's-
believe this because, but don't tell him like, hey, you're
Oh,
wrong.
Oh no, I don't even do
Exactly.
that. I just do the I believe this. But the thing that is different that I have started doing or trying to do is, why do I care what he thinks?
exactly. It stems from something else deeper, like what motivates you to
Well,
want to do that. Yeah.
And I do, and I think we've talked about this before. I know I've journaled about it if I haven't talked about it, but it comes from a childhood where we weren't allowed to speak our opinions, so we weren't allowed to have a point of view. And so as soon as I was old enough that my parents couldn't tell me, shut up, children should be seen and not heard, then I wanted to share my point of view with everybody. I want everybody to know what I think. I don't, I share freely everything, but then I realized what I'm coming to realize is that I don't really care what the other people think. Okay, so, well, I do care. I mean, I care that people think wrongly and it makes them appear dumb, because sometimes that is the case, or uneducated or whatever. But if they really wanted to know the truth of the matter, they would research it themselves.
Yeah. The information is out there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's not up to me to say, well, I believe this instead. It's really just not. So let them just say what they have to say and go, oh, well,
Like,
that's
you feel like-
interesting.
Okay, yeah, your opinion is very valid, and then move on.
Move on. Exactly. And it's really
Be
hard
like
for me
and
to
be like,
do
"You're
because
dumb."
I feel really strongly about certain things. And, like that whole Robert Whitaker book, I feel very strongly about that. But I also know people who think, I'm not going off my meds. That's crazy stuff. And it's not my job to convince them to go off their meds. It's not my job to convince them that his book is right.
Mm-hmm.
I have shared that information in a public way through this podcast. But I'm not, I guess unless somebody asks me for my opinion or strikes up that conversation
Yeah.
themselves,
Yeah.
then I don't have to correct
Yes.
that
I'm
mistake.
going to use a gardening thing.
Okay.
It is not your responsibility to tend other people's gardens.
Right.
Gardener to gardener, you can give tips
Mhm.
and share insight, but you cannot go
But
and
you
pull the weeds in
Right.
someone else's garden.
And yeah. And I think also
Girl.
at the same time,
I'm done
I
with
don't-
you.
I don't think you should just go offering your tips unless they strike up that conversation with you.
Yeah, because you don't know if they're a gardener. You can't
Well-
just go up to someone and say, you got weeds in your garden.
You got weeds in
Maybe
your garden, I
that
can tell
isn't
you how to-
even their garden.
Right.
So to insult their weeds,
She's still thinking dirty over here.
No, okay. If you've never seen
oh, the
The movie-
garden book. Oh, wait, no. I was thinking of-
there's also that, but like the movie Now and Then, when she goes and she asks her mother have the talk, and the mother uses a garden metaphor for like
the birds and the bees,
yeah,
right?
for
Yes.
everything. And so she talks about tending your garden and like different things like that. So every time Kristen talks about that, I'm thinking of that movie, and I'm just like, oh man, y'all need to
But
stop.
I love that. I love that. So Amber, I was actually thinking about something that you've stopped doing recently. And I don't think you even gave credit where credit is due, because it's still an active thing that you're doing.
Uh-huh.
But one of the things you were talking about was not having like the added sugars in your diet, right?
Oh, you want me to talk about that?
Well, yeah, because
Okay, yeah, I can do that. I can totally talk about it, and I can talk about you know, I've talked about grad school a million times.
right,
But
because I want to touch on this thing that you said right away. I said, "How's it going?" And the first thing you said is, "It's going horrible," like it didn't even happen. And then you said, "Well, I had like 3 false starts," and I'm thinking, okay. And then you were like, "The first day I was tempted and I fell into temptation, and then the next day this, and the next day that, and then at the end you're like, but I lost 2 pounds." And I
Okay.
was like, you just literally like you did it. And then both of you, and I wanted to point this out because both of you said, well, it's not something I'm actually doing, I'm trying.
Right.
And
Well, you know, it's my perfectionism
It's a practice.
getting
yeah,
in like
but
the
both
way
of you didn't
my
give
answer.
yourself credit of actually participating in the act of not doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because both of you are thinking, I haven't
did-
completely abstained from it ever again yet, so
Right.
I'm still trying. You're both in
It's a-
trying mode,
It's a
but
tr-
it's
it's
not.
a trap
We
that
don't
we fall
try,
into.
we
It is.
do. You
Well-
either do or you don't.
Well,
and this
and-
kind of falls into like the class that I'm currently taking in grad school. Well, I'm taking like multiple classes, but I'm saving like the 3 hardest classes for my and I didn't even like think when we were talking about anatomy of an epidemic because I'm taking a pharmacology class,
wow.
which like I haven't like I just started it, so I haven't really gotten deep into it. So maybe like late on a later date. But I'm taking addictions counseling, I'm taking marriage and family therapy, and I'm taking pharmacology. But for my addictions counseling class, we're doing this ongoing project called Walking the Path of Change.
Mm-hmm.
And so, she wanted us to take an addiction and that we have in our daily lives, and it could be anything from like negative self-talk to like not eating chips or whatever. It's kind of like a Lent for the summer, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting
Yeah.
rid of something. And I talked this out with my Modern Musings guys. I talked this out with my husband, and it's like something that, and we were talking about, y'all were talking about, and then my friend Joy also was talking about something that I can measure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking, the refined sugar, because it's, sugar addiction is real. Food addiction
Absolutely.
is real, and I can't just like cut out food, right? But sugar addiction is a real thing that runs in my family. That's something that I've been running away from my whole life, really. And once I quit it, it's, once it gets easier as time goes on, then like it's not like I miss it. And I decided to I wanted to go like a step further and not do refined sugar, which would be breads and things of that nature that have refined sugar in them. Not, like natural sugar is fine, fruit,
Right.
But and that's like a real struggle that I have a lot, is just cutting out the bread.
Mm-hmm.
I can go without a donut.
Mm-hmm.
I can go without a bar of chocolate. And if I go like a month without a bar of chocolate, if I have one bite of chocolate, I'm like, ugh.
It's too
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
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 I can go without that. I can go without the ube mocha latte, 50 pumps of sugar from Starbucks. I can go without that. I can get sugar-free pumps of sugar, or just go the Kristen way and just put a little heavy cream in it and call it good, because I like that bitter taste of coffee anyway. So I can go without all that. I don't drink frappuccinos. I don't go and get ice cream because dairy makes me sick. But it's just one of those, like, it's the bread, and it's not even like a slice of white bread, it's like an artisan bread,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like the good bread.
And it's that thing that you say, it's a once in a lifetime chance. So
Yeah.
the temptation is there.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't do
but-
this every day.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you credit for something you weren't giving credit for yourself. Like, I really wanted you to see, like, your approach at the beginning was like,
Yeah, because I
I'm
messed
not
up.
doing it. I'm not being successful.
Well,
it's
I'm
going
not being
horribly.
successful.
But then you
said-
actually
yeah.
had
I took
progress.
one bite of a cookie, and then I was just like, my mind
Guilt-ridden,
was just
yeah. You
like,
called
I
it-
messed
You
up.
called it a false start, and it wasn't a false start because it is a practice.
Yeah.
It doesn't have. It's not a false
Yeah.
start.
You're-
You actually started on the day you
Yeah.
started.
And
Yeah.
you touched on something. You said walking the path of change. And that right there is actually the mindset. It's a path. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
a
not.
way.
It's going to be
And
a
you're not-
rocky path. It's not going to be a smooth path. And you
and
know,
it's
when,
not instantaneous.
Well, and
when
that's
you
what I'm
pointed
saying.
that out
It's
to
not
me,
a
I
doorway.
realized my error and the way. And I'd actually talked this out with my cousin because he was telling me that it takes like about 30 days to
Mhm.
really kind of get on the path to
Right.
change a habit.
right.
And
But
you're
just
also
because you-
removing something
Right.
that you have an addiction to. So
Right.
Yeah,
there's
and
also
he said it takes
withdrawal.
about 30 days to kind of
Right.
get past that hump
Right.
and the withdrawal.
But even
Yeah.
after you've done that, just because some people call it slip or choose.
Uh-huh.
Fall off the
imbibe,
bandwagon.
Fall
is
off
a
the
really
bandwagon,
common one.
whatever you want to call it. It doesn't mean you failed. You still have that. You still are doing that. You just
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
I was coming at it with an all or nothing attitude.
yeah.
And I think that's my biggest problem when I try to like change my eating habits or change like my diet habits or even put in like a exercising habit is that like if I miss one day I failed at it, so I just
we all
need to
do
like
that.
give it up.
We all do that. And,
Mhm.
we do that with the gym. Oh, I missed the gym this week, so I just won't go next week either. And I won't go the next week. Or, I ate something naughty for lunch today. So, you know what? I'm going to eat something naughty for dinner too. And maybe tomorrow, and I'll
Mhm.
start again on Monday.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Ah,
but
yes.
the thing is that, and this was something I learned from Allie Edwards, One Little Word, is that, developing a routine, developing a habit or whatever is never an all or nothing thing.
Mhm.
It's a practice. It's a trying. It's
Mhm.
all about the repetition. Do you keep coming back to it
Yes.
over and over and over
Yes.
again? And as long as you are coming back to it every time, then you are still succeeding at it.
Yeah. So here's this is number 1 on my do not
Okay.
to-do list. Or Kristen's not to-do list. Do not restart.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when you said
It's
that, I was
not-
like, there
keep-
it is.
It's not a
forging
restart.
Because I
forward.
tend to go, well, I missed a few days, so I should probably start over. Or like Amber says, a false start because
It's not
I
a
ate
restart.
part of a cookie.
You're just doing.
right?
You're continuing.
You don't need a new planner,
It's
a new one, because you didn't finish using the other one, or
Right.
you missed a few days. You don't need to go buy a new planner. You don't need a new
Well,
notebook.
that's a
new
great
system.
analogy.
You don't need a new month to start over.
No.
Right? Some people mess up and then they go, well, I guess I'll start again on July 1st
Right.
instead.
Why?
Or Monday.
Yeah.
That's the one I hear all the time.
I'll
Monday's
do it
gonna
on
be
Monday.
better.
Monday.
And I'm like, no, right now. The next time you do or
Right.
have that opportunity to make the correct
Just
choice.
continue making that choice.
The choice, yeah.
It's an actual choice.
And that's why I liked that, walking the path of change. I wrote that down because it's a path, not a doorway
Mhm.
of
Right.
instant change. One of the other ones that I have is do not wait to feel ready. And
nobody's
this one,
ready.
I
Yeah.
know you often gain the clarity while you're doing the thing, not
Right.
before. And one of the things that I was really struggling with was having the perfect conditions. And
Yeah,
so-
not ever going to happen. Those perfect conditions, not ever going to happen.
and I think about you walking Daisy, with Jason, because I also started walking. I have a fat dog too, and
I
so
need to walk my fat dog too.
one
Yeah,
day, you know,
we just need to have like a dog walking session, all
Right.
three of us.
my doggy doesn't care how long the walk is or what kind of shoes I put on or where we walk. He just wants to go for the walk.
Right. Mine does
Right?
too.
And I kept waiting for the perfect conditions. Like I'd look down and be like, oh, I don't have the right kind of shoes on,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't have the right kind of clothes
Girl,
on.
I just wear my Crocs.
Exactly, because see, I used to be like, well, if I'm going for a walk, I need to have my exercise clothes on and my walking shoes.
Oh, right.
I
right.
went in the other night. I went in jeans, a t-shirt, and Crocs.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay. Mine with Sophie is, I have to go walk in the park because that's where Mark always walked her.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
know what I've
necessarily-
been
you can
doing?
go
I've
around
been
the
putting her.
neighborhood.
I've been putting her in the car, and we go to Home Depot. I take her with me to my
And
Home
she
Depot.
gets a
thing.
walk.
She
yeah.
gets a walk in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's
Perfect.
not as
The
long as what she
conditions
used to do,
for
but
her. Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah. And so I don't need to wait to feel ready. Sometimes you just have to do it. And
Right.
that's, again, that kind of goes back, Amber, to that motivation thing, is that the motivation happens like clarity while you're doing it.
Mhm.
It reinforces it. So you don't get motivation and then spend it before you do the thing.
Your
You get
motivation comes from the act of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other one that I have on my list is do not confuse tending with optimizing, which kind of touches on the first one about starting over. Because
Mm.
sometimes I want to improve the system before I actually use the system.
Had to add that
And then
garden
I end up
metaphor in there
making
also.
the spreadsheet getting bigger,
Right,
and more,
and we
more.
learned that lesson with that little task list that we did, and it
Oh
just
my
got
gosh, it just
out of
became
hand.
so big, and
Right.
then it was like I literally had blow my nose, not literally, but you
But
know,
yeah,
it
no,
had like
yeah.
the silliest stuff on here, and then it's like Amber says,
I
she
spend
doesn't
more
wanna-
time checking
checking
things off the list off than actually
living
doing.
freely.
Right.
You put yourself in your own prison.
Right.
So that one is really sneaky. Before long, you've spent 3 hours organizing markers instead of making art. And that is where I
Right.
often get stuck, because I find myself like needing to just do a little bit of cleanup in my craft room so that I can get some crafts. But 3 days researching, instead of actually doing something. Right?
Right,
Like
right.
I wanted to make compost, and I kept self-doubting myself, and I kept going and like watching videos on how to make compost, and then I'd watch someone else's video, and then I'd sleep on it, and then it's just dirt and garbage. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, I realized if it fails, I just throw it away. Like,
Right.
why was I being so like, I was trying to optimize garbage. And when you look at it from that lens, it just sounds so silly.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 weeks planning in a journal instead of writing in it.
Right. Which
Mhm.
how many times have we done that with, our goal setting at the beginning of
Uh-huh.
the year?
Yeah.
We spend so much time refining what the goals are
Mhm.
that we don't actually
Yeah.
actively do them.
Yeah. This one is another one, and this is something Amber and I have talked about a lot. Do not turn hobbies into obligations.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
cannot allow the things that I find joy in to become jobs. And I've talked to
Right.
you about that, Mom, because you see stuff and you go, "Ooh, I could sell that."
Yeah, I
And
do. I do.
I always like whenever you start talking like that, because I don't like thinking in those terms, because
Right.
then it takes all the joy out of it.
Well, and I get that you have that. For me, it's more like I am trying to find sources of income. That's why I
and that's
look at things
optimizing.
that
Yeah, and I
that's-
want to do that. Yeah.
I have to find something that brings in income
Mhm.
for me. So,
Yeah.
and those, when I see things, I'm looking
Uh-huh.
for things that I can do.
And
so.
that's actually kind of helped me with being creative. So one of my goals this year was like just to get back into artistic stuff.
Right,
One of the
right.
reasons I didn't continue with going to art school was when they wanted to see my portfolio. And I have a portfolio, but I realized, well, I haven't really I didn't have anything new to add to it.
Okay, yeah.
And I was just like, I really felt like an imposter almost, because that was old Kristen going to school to learn art, and this is a different Kristen. and I didn't want
Yeah,
to
you've
show
lived
up
a lot
with,
of life since
yeah,
your
I
20s.
didn't want to show up with someone else's, portfolio and be like, this is what I created. Yeah, I did create it, but that was like 20 years ago.
Right, right.
And I was like, maybe I need to, think about that a little bit more. And then I also put like this, like Amber said, false start on something, because then I was like, oh, I have nothing. I didn't create any art. So then I was like, I must create like a masterpiece.
Mm.
And so instead of actually just going in and going back to the habit of drawing every day, I was like, blank page syndrome.
Right, right.
And so part of that turning hobbies into obligation, right? Not everything needs to be a finished masterpiece, right?
Yeah.
Not
Right.
everything needs
You
an
should just play
audience.
without a reason.
Not everything needs to be monetized. And sometimes I can just make weird things just because.
Right.
Or I can just, and so like this month's goal for me was touch medium.
Okay.
Touch medium.
Uh-huh.
And what ended up happening was my goal was so loose that I was actually like so deep in my medium touching that I didn't even realize I'd actually done it. And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I already did my goal this month because
Uh-huh.
I drew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was one of my other ones. Here's a good one that hopefully you guys can find. Do not collect guilt souvenirs.
Right.
So, unfinished projects.
Oh yeah.
The book you didn't finish. I was
Uh-huh.
talking about that, like holding on to a book for like 2 years
I have
because I
one.
felt guilty about not finishing it.
I have one on
Craft
my
supply
bedside
you never
table.
used. A recipe you meant to try.
she's looking at me for this.
Girl, I know Amber's got some too, and I do too. I
Uh-huh.
have a whole. I used to
have
have a
boxes
whole
of them.
bookshelf of recipes.
I have a
books.
bookshelf of
Well,
them
I
too.
used to. I have that box of recipes that I was going to make my own recipe book of
Uh-huh.
like magazines and stuff. I ended up having to throw that away because it was taking up too much space.
Mm.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to play with it, and now you
Mhm.
cannot feel guilty because it wasn't a project that never got finished. It served its
Right.
purpose.
Right.
Oh,
It was an idea.
It was a distraction and an idea,
Yeah.
and it didn't pan out.
Uh huh. Okay. Half planned ideas. You don't have to keep them just because,
You worked on them.
right? And here's the gardener thing: not every seed is meant to sprout.
Oh, and that's a really good point because a lot of times, like if you read the instructions on a packet of seeds,
Mm-hmm.
it will tell you plant all these seeds this far apart, and then you come back and
You take
thin
them
it
out.
out.
Yeah.
You take the
At first,
ones
I
that
was
don't grow
appalled
very
about
well.
that. I was like, I'm gonna throw a living plant away.
Right, right. But the point is you're trying to see which ones are actually going to grow, and the ones that aren't thriving, you take them out so that they're not sucking all the nutrients and the water out of the soil, and they're not crowding the ones that are growing.
Mhm.
So, and that's what happens with these half-finished, half-baked projects, They're
Yeah.
sitting here in piles crowding the other projects you could be working on
Yeah.
and making you feel guilty
Right.
about
So you don't need to carry them around proving you once had an intention,
uh-huh
right?
uh-huh
So, you do not make every unfinished thing mean something about you. So this kind of goes with the other one almost, but like a forgotten journal page is not evidence.
okay
A dead plant is not evidence. A missed goal is not evidence.
Okay.
Right? Like Amber's, false start is not evidence or
that
proof
she's a failure
that she's
right.
a failure. Exactly. A messy room is not evidence. I mean, I guess it
An
could be,
ugly
but-
piece of art that you made is not evidence that you're a bad
oh my
artist
because then we could say that about a lot of artists.
right some of the most famous artists
And that's the thing that people don't realize is that, like, Rembrandt had like so many sketches, but you only see like the ones in the museums.
Right.
Well,
Well,
just like any artist.
and,
Right?
and all of them
Yeah.
did what they call a quote unquote study. A
Yeah.
lot of times they would sketch it multiple times as they
Yeah.
studied this form,
yeah, and the
coming up with the
sketches and-
right thing.
Yeah.
And then like the painters often would paint over something because the canvases or whatever they were painting on was
Were
so
not cheap.
yeah, they were expensive and the artists were starving,
yeah.
and so if they didn't like the way a painting came
They
out,
paint over
they
it.
painted over it.
Yeah, so you don't know what's under the layers of the Mona Lisa.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So,
Another Mona Lisa.
right.
Maybe.
With
maybe
an even less
one-
excited face.
or one with a smile and her teeth
And
look
she
terrible.
looked weird,
Yeah.
and he went, oh, maybe we won't go that route.
Right.
So we're always constantly collecting that evidence of failure while
Mhm.
ignoring the evidence of growth. Like, your little conversation really hit home with me today, Amber, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't postpone.
Then I have achieved my goal for the
There
day.
you go.
There you go.
You got stuck in my head. Do not postpone joy until completion. I think we were talking about this too, like, a lot recently.
Take pride in getting part of the way there, or is that
Mhm.
what you're talking about, or
Yeah,
like the little milestones?
we act like the reward comes at the end a lot of times, and sometimes the reward is in the act of doing
And the doing,
it.
yeah.
So sometimes our favorite moments happen in the middle, right? It's the journey, not the
Oh,
destination. kind of thing.
here's a great
Mhm.
example of that. The jigsaw puzzle that I recently did with my family. The whole point of it is not to finish, even though finishing
I really rarely care about looking at the puzzle after
the
it's done.
the finishing of the jigsaw puzzle was on my bucket list, but it
Mhm.
was not the point. It was the act of doing the
Mhm.
jigsaw puzzle that was the point. And because
Well,
I
I think
shared it
That's definitely
with
the point
Kristen
of
and
puzzles.
Raina, and I shared it with my brother and his family,
Mhm.
it was so much, there was so much joy in the doing of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people like want to, turn that into art and frame it and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I mean, like I think it's fun just dismantling it when you're
Right,
done.
right.
Really? Huh.
Well, sure. I mean, what's not fun in tearing stuff up?
You little chaos.
She is.
Chaos demon.
So just a couple more that I have. Do not let productivity borrow from faith.
Okay,
So
you don't have to
this one-
explain that one.
Yeah, I think this one, sometimes productivity culture sneaks into everything, like
Oh, because we
prayer,
live in it.
devotion. Like, we expect something to come out of it.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
creativity, right? Suddenly we're evaluating, our spiritual life like a dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that one's probably more personal than anything, so maybe that one doesn't make a lot of sense to you guys, but I think personally for me, in my 40 years of life, I've had kind of ebb and flow of spirituality, and there's seasons of seeking, and then there's seasons of not. And then sometimes when I'm not like in that seeking, I will look back and be like, wow, I wasn't like Christian enough.
Mm.
Or
Okay.
I didn't, wow, I forgot to pray. I'm a bad Christian. I don't know. Like, maybe some people feel that way, but that's just like some weird negative
Okay.
self-talk thing. And I don't feel that way anymore, but I have in the past.
Okay.
And so it's something interesting, because it's on my not to do list. Like, I don't have a problem with that, but it's just a reminder for me if I ever become in that season where maybe I lose some faith,
Right.
and
Right.
some people struggle with their faith.
Right.
So, that one's a little small one there. Do not volunteer for every rescue mission.
Oh gosh. Yes.
So, that's one, like, I have a big heart. But not every struggling person is my assignment.
That's true too.
Not every lonely person
man.
is my assignment.
When Kristen and I lived together, I swear we had a revolving couch.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because
I have too.
like and it wasn't just her, it was me also, but like
Mhm.
we had several people live with us in
Yeah.
our apartment.
And
when
She
we lived
learned
together.
it
I
from
learned
me
that
and-
from my parents
Yeah.
too, because they're the same
And
way.
Mark and I learned it
and
from
both my grandparents had
Yeah.
a niece or a grandchild live
Right.
with them,
Yeah.
so it's, I think that's just my culture,
Well, I'm not
Right.
saying that it didn't come from my house, like
no, I know,
also
yeah,
like it was usually family members. Like my
Yeah.
granny lived
Yeah.
with us for a while.
Mhm.
My uncle
Yeah,
Johnny
it's
lived with us
embedded
for a
in our
while.
being. So then it becomes like almost like a if you don't do it, you feel bad
You're a
because you
bad
don't
person
want
'cause you
people to
didn't-
think, why are you excluding me from your generosity?
Right, right. Well,
That's
or
tough.
even just like, well, how you could let that person stay with you for a while. They need your help, you know.
But not every wounded person is my assignment. Not every
Right.
problem is my assignment. Compassion and responsibility are not the same thing.
Right, right.
Yeah, you don't want to take on everybody's problems.
I cannot carry the weight of the world.
Exactly.
And nobody can. And
Like,
that's
even
just
your best friend's
Mm-hmm.
problems, like, you can take them on temporarily, but you can't take on all of your best friend's problems all the time, especially like not financially,
Right.
not emotionally. Sometimes people have to, step up and either, pass or fail, I guess.
Yeah.
And that, you have a big heart like that. That's a problem that I've had in the past as well, that I've wanted to, like, give everybody the shirt off my back, and then I ran out of shirts.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I've had the same thing because we had a friend of ours who came to stay with us one time, and then he was only supposed to be here short time, and then he never left. You know,
Literally.
and I mean, we had to go. Mark had to like have this come to Jesus meeting with him, so to speak. And say you got to leave because you're disrupting this household and we can't support you. You were supposed to come here and find a job and move out and take care of yourself, and now you're not doing that. I can't support you, and that's really hard to do. And I think
It is hard.
has happened to everybody at this table.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's hard to have that conversation, to be like, hey, if you're not going to help yourself, I can't help you anymore.
Right, right.
Yep.
It's
There's-
so hard to have that
Yep.
conversation. It's
It
one of
is.
those things that we were talking about last episode that you don't want to do. How do you
Right.
do those things?
Well,
that
and
you
I
don't
yeah,
wanna
I
do?
have I've avoided that even with my niece Ashley, and it comes a time after I'll let some time go by, and I'm like, we got to have this ugly conversation that I don't want to have with you, but I let you move in here because of this, and this, and I want to see that you're making that progress that we talked about, so
Yeah.
and and then that always spurs her to get back on track and start doing for herself too. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep. So the last one I have for you guys on my not to do list is do not forget how far you've already come.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one.
We do that constantly. We're just always focused on the forward, keep moving, eyes
Mhm.
ahead, right? And
Right.
then we're also then noticing what isn't done, what still needs work.
And we just
notice
focus, we
what's
hyper focus on
missing.
that, right?
you know but then we forget to look back and just enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Right, right,
Gardening metaphor insert here.
right.
So
That's interesting.
You grew this whole tree.
Mhm. Yep.
Don't be mad because you only got 3 apples.
So I do have one that's the gardener's not to do list, and my favorite one is do not yell at seeds.
Uh-huh.
Because a gardener does not yell at the seed to grow.
Right, right.
So do
That
not
that's
dig
that
up
thing
roots
about
to check
expectations.
progress.
Don't make expectations where expectations
Yep.
aren't warranted.
Well, that's interesting.
We all have expectations too. I'm really bad about that.
Don't water weeds.
That one, when I started, when I first read the Eckhart Tolle, the power, it wasn't the power of now. It was a new earth. But he talks about living in the now and stuff, and that was one of the things, was that you have to live in the moment and accept what is going on in the moment, and quit trying to project what's going to happen or have regrets over what did happen, because the past doesn't exist. It happened, but it no longer exists, and
Yeah.
neither does the future. And so all there is right now. And so you have to appreciate what's going on now
Mm-hmm.
and not, you know, I don't know where I was going with that, but
Yeah, that's I mean that's sounds like your rule. Like,
well, it is, you know,
Yeah.
to accept what's now. And well, it kind of goes back to, well, it's that
don't get stuck in the past and the
No,
future.
well, and it's that expectation, because if you are making expectations about what's going to happen or what something is going to be like, then you are thinking in the future. You're not thinking about right now, and so you just have to let go of that. So you don't yell at the weed to grow, or you don't yell at the weed for growing, and you don't yell at the plant because it didn't grow. You
Mhm.
just accept it as it is. And
Yeah.
and if you're expecting your garden to grow without any weed, you know, everything's
Mhm.
going to grow perfectly just like this, and your fruit on your plants are going to look like this, you're going to be sorely disappointed, because you know, natural fruit and vegetables, when they grow, they're kind of deformed looking sometimes. They're not a perfect little round tomato or a perfectly oblong cucumber. Some of them are more curled, and some
Those
of
are
them
actually the genetically modified ones that we're all trying to get away from.
and
Yeah.
you know, like the little, sometimes the bell peppers have more bumps on them than whatever, or maybe one side of it turned a little red and the rest of it's green or whatever. You know, they're just not perfect.
Yeah.
And if you have that expectation, then you're just deluding yourself. And you can't have those expectations of people either. They can't read your mind. They can't make everything happen and look and do and turn out
To your
exactly the way you
expectations.
expect.
Yeah.
Right.
That's actually one of my gardener ones, because I was going through like this mindset of like, wow, I realize like I always find people and pick them as projects. Like, not that I'm trying to fix people, but you
They
know,
find
I see
you.
someone that needs help and then I make that like my project to help them, you know, and
Yeah.
it's not my responsibility to see the outcome. I can, you know, just like you were talking about, I can give them tips, but I can't change their life for them.
And
right?
and
They
it's
have
not
to do
cool to
that.
give them tips if they don't want tips.
Exactly. And so my gardener one is that the gardener does not pull on the plant to make it taller. You can't change, like the plant is going to grow how it wants to grow.
Right, right.
And it's not my responsibility.
Right.
I'm just there to tend it if it's in my garden. But I'm
Right.
not going to go to Amber's garden and pull on her plants and why won't you grow? Like it sounds so silly when you put it in
Right.
like
Well,
some
and
other perspective.
and the same by the same you know, thing, you know, why would you water something that has enough water but doesn't want water?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't water the cactus a whole lot,
Yeah.
you know?
Because that's what you want.
Right.
Bingo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grow, cactus, grow.
Yeah. Why aren't you thirsty? Yeah.
Right. I keep watering you. What's wrong with you?
Speaking of gardening, like one of my students gave me, for teacher appreciation, one of my students gave me a calla lily plant, and I've been I've been watering
it's
it
your
and-
favorite flower too.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I've been watering it, and it's been sitting on my porch and everything, and I haven't killed it yet. So go me.
Nice.
I wish I could say that about the orchid that I bought for my friend Jean, who was in the hospital, and I bought her the orchid, and I was going to take it to her in the hospital, and then she wasn't in the hospital quicker than I expected. And long story short, the plant's still sitting here, and I haven't been to see her yet because she wasn't ready for visitors, and I've killed the plant.
I was about to say the plot twist is the plant died.
The plant died.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm like,
I hope that all of you are as inspired as I was to have a not to do list.
that was really good.
This is
and
very
enlightening to do.
interesting.
I
I've
liked
been
it.
like sitting here thinking about it because you made your not to do list. I was thinking, what if I did like a literary twist or whatever
Tell
on
me,
a
what you
on
got?
a on a not to do list. So I've been like trying struggling.
To be or not to be?
Right? Oh, ha, 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 ha. No, I got one. I got
Pride
one.
and Prejudice.
Do not confuse the plot with the theme. That's like my one that I've been struggling to come up with, like trying to make it literary. Do not confuse
Right.
the plot with the theme.
Right.
Okay,
Wow.
now we can move on.
The antagonist is not the main character.
Ooh.
So true. That's a good one. That's a good one. You want me to
Unless
do like
it's a villain story.
but
But then they wouldn't be the
They
antagonist.
wouldn't be the antagonist, right? They're the protagonist with
Yeah.
a disposition.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Pride and Prejudice, because I made my seniors read it this year.
Aw.
And I
that's
wrote
sweet.
like something like literary Pride and Prejudice themed in every one of their books when I gave it to them.
Oh, or, well, I guess this probably falls under the theme is not the plot, but Frankenstein. The Frankenstein is not the monster, or is he?
Yeah.
right, right. Or you were talking about you were talking about Moby Dick earlier.
Oh yeah.
Do not become Captain Ahab and mistake obsession for purpose.
Right.
Ooh.
That's a good one. Well, this sounds like a fun little exercise. I don't know.
I
what-
don't know that
I don't know
might
what
be a
theme I
good
would do
writing
like.
exercise
I was about
for
to
me.
say, like, that
Come up
may
with
be
a literary
the
not-to-do list.
not to do list in the library, and then I got the not to do list in the gardener's corner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now I want to know what's on your not to do list.
My not to do list. Well, like I said, not everybody.
Don't put off taking plants to people in the hospital.
Well,
No,
right.
right.
Well, that wasn't necessarily my fault, but it like not
Oh.
assuming that everybody needs to be corrected. I guess.
Don't make a plant die because the circumstance wasn't perfect, right? Because you postponed giving her.
Well,
the
but I
plant
tried to-
because
I tried to.
oh
The
maybe-
thing is that it's an orchid and they're notoriously
oh,
hard.
and you can't just leave it on her porch. 'Cause she
No.
wasn't well enough
She
to
couldn't-
get up and get it.
Yeah,
Okay, I was
so-
like, why didn't you just drop it off?
No, I couldn't. And I did actually make an appointment with her one day
Mhm.
to go
Then
do
she
it,
wasn't feeling well.
and then she wasn't feeling well. So
Yeah, that makes
and then
sense, yeah.
and then I got busy, and so it's still just sitting here, and I'm
Don't assume the
black thumb.
problem to the solution to your problem is the solution to someone else's problem.
right.
Noted.
Yeah.
Strike through.
Your-
Noted.
Your soil may be acidic, but somebody else's may be.
Okay,
Nitrogen
we gotta
rich.
stop
She
with these
doesn't
plant
like the-
metaphors.
she doesn't
It's
like
really
it.
bothering. I'm
I
just
don't-
kidding. We
I
don't
don't know
have to.
what I would even do. What kind of metaphors I would use? I really don't. I don't know.
You're logical. They would just be straightforward.
Probably. Maybe. I don't know.
All right. What
All
are
right.
we talking about next week?
So next week we are talking about it's actually mid-year. This will be episode 26 of this year. So we're halfway through the year, or we're going to be halfway through the year. And we're going to talk about mid-year reflection and review. So we're going to talk about our goals, kind of check in on how some of those goals have been going. I don't know if y'all have set goals. I know Amber had at least one, which was to graduate. But
Hey, it's going well.
Hey! So we will talk about goal setting and mid-year reflections and all of that stuff. And that's what we're talking about next week.
All right, let's
Looking
talk about
forward
it
to
next
it.
week.
Well, thank you guys so much for checking us out again this week for our podcast. And, we just want to share our thanks for your continued support.
Yes.
Definitely check us out on MMC Chat on Facebook if you want to hit us up there. We'd love to hear what your not to do list is. And you can also see us at modernmusings.net. And I'm sure there's going to be some heard it on the podcast where we may reference some of the
Maybe
things
eventually.
we mentioned previous podcasts that we mentioned. Yeah.
I try to get those out every week, but sometimes they take a little extra time to get out.
Hey, well, there's
It happens.
Hey,
And
it's-
if you
it's not-
need a link-
it's not like the website doesn't exist
Right.
this week. It's still there.
Well, and the
So
thing is
stop
if you
by.
ever stop by and you want to find something on Heard It on the podcast and it's not posted yet, just send me
How
an
would they
email
know?
or whatever,
How
and
would
I
they
will
know?
happily give you that. What?
How would they know if it's not posted yet?
Well,
Only you
Heard
me
It
and
on the
Amber know.
podcast is a blog post,
Yeah.
and they would
So if
go
that's the
look,
last
and
thing
they
on there, then that would be the last
Oh,
thing up there.
Kristen.
I'm just messing with you.
no, if they wanted the links for this episode and they're not posted, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
They would go look, and it's not there. They can text or email, and I can give it to them
Gotcha.
because I haven't made that post yet.
So, yes, hit us up on, go to modernmusings.net so that you can see our Heard It on the podcast, so that you can see the links for anything that we may have mentioned in any of our podcasts.
Yes.
All right, and we look forward to coming back next week. We'll see you then. Bye.